Ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
So obviously, first thing is to recognize and reflect and remember just 9/11 and 15 years ago, the anniversary of the events of that day and the aftermath. Much more important then, and puts everything in perspective in terms of college football and what we're able to do. But certainly encourage everybody to take time to thank first responders around them or men and women of the armed services and again, what's really important. And then on a personal note, congrats to Dirk Cutter for his first win today. It was awesome to see those guys win. Our players of the game, Jalen Jelks was the defensive player of the game. Travis Johnson was our scout of the week in preparation. Special teams-wise, we did not have a player of the game. Our scout of the week was Hunter Campmoyer. Offensively, the player of the game was Royce Freeman. The scout of the week was Blake Rugrath. And a lot of stuff that we talked about last night showed up on film. Defensively, getting some turnovers was good. The second quarter was good, and then a lot of stuff to clean up: our leverage, our fits, keeping drives alive with missed tackles, penalties, way too many times. Offensively, had a couple explosive plays in the run game and in the pass game, which were big. And then again, penalties and more due to, obviously had a couple false starts that are concentration and a couple times just technically finishing blocks instead of getting called for holding. Special teams, we are okay in terms of protection and some of the things involved in that as far as the tempo there. Kind of freelancing a little bit too much in our coverage. Got gashed the one time, and just a matter of missed assignment. So we'll get all that stuff cleaned up headed toward Nebraska.
Questions? Back here on the right, Joey.
Something you guys have always taken a lot of pride in, the downfield blocking with the receivers. I guess I just kind of want to ask you a little bit. The big one that got a lot of attention was Jaylen Brown, but just how much pride and how much time do you guys spend on that downfield blocking and that whole mentality of you have to be able to block on the outside to play?
Yeah, every single day, and those guys, it's really cool how I always my thing with those guys is I don't want to be able to tell who scored the touchdown by how excited you are and how unselfish you can be. And last week Jalen had a great touchdown reception, and that was a better play. That was a better play. How long he blocked that guy. There was some shenanigans on that play, and for him to stay disciplined and walk away was huge. But no, they take a great deal of pride in that, and that's something those guys talk about that more than catching the ball. Just in terms of practice and how competitive they are. It's awesome.
Right up here, Nate. Ryan, she's coming up behind you.
Did you guys move Sklar to safety this week out of need, or did you kind of after one game feel like maybe he's a better fit at safety? And who does he remind you of other than maybe the Remember the Titans quarterback?
He doesn't remind me of him, but no, we've tried to cross train him everywhere back there. Right when he got here, we kind of started him outside in as far as starting him at corner, but then experimenting at nickel, experimenting at free safety, and so he's been doing that all along. And just a guy that has a very natural feel for football. Did a great job on the goal line of not only making a tackle but attacking the line of scrimmage downhill and finishing a play. Something we need to continue to do more of from the secondary. But just a very natural football player. And I don't know who he reminds me of. Yeah. Taller than most. He is taller than most. Yeah.
Right here, Matt.
Kahlberg and Cumberlander, just based on it. They both played a lot more from week 2 to week 1. Is there kind of progression going along where they're working into the rotation, or is it just try and find bodies who can work up front?
A combination of both those things. We need to play more guys, and they earned it. Rex Manu came in, had a couple great plays, couple things that he would like to do differently, and the same with Dre and Gus. Gus had kind of stuck with it and fought through a double team and finished on that one sack. A lot of that was due to great coverage and him just being kind of relentless. But yeah, we need to kind of spice up our competition in there and just get some more production.
Joey, back.
Royce talked about how he wanted to add some more longer runs to his game, and I think we saw one of those last night. What else is there for him to add to his game, and I guess how beneficial is it to his game to have that long run ability? Not that he didn't have before, but he certainly put it on display.
Well, yeah, we've never told him not to have limit his explosive plays. No, he's really good. He's a complete back from a protection standpoint, a route runner. We had a couple things in the game plan that we didn't get to from a route standpoint that we have a lot of faith in what he does as a route runner and a pass catcher. And so, yeah, he can make guys miss. He can run through you. He's a very good football player.
Warren?
Mark, Dakota said last night that it was a focus this last week in practice on tempo. When you went back and looked at the tape, were you satisfied with where the tempo was? He had said that the defensive line, in a lot of cases, they weren't even getting set and that they were gassed. Happy with the tempo last night?
Sporadically, at times we were great, and then the third quarter, again, whether it was a penalty, we had the false start that then led to the personal foul, which was a weird progression, and so that we got kind of choppy. But we will always have some element of that, and it just kind of depends on the opponent, what they do, how things set up. How we think it's best to attack them as far as how much and when we'll do it.
You said communication was better too. For the offensive
it was better than the first game for sure.
The back.
Fairbairn played a lot throughout the game. Are you worried about his durability at all going through the season if you play him this much in the early going?
Well, that's why we had a couple packages in there. There were a couple guys notably absent that there was no discipline for that. So you can read between the lines there of availability, and we'll see how that turns out in the future. But yeah, that's one of those things you have to spell a guy like that because he does a lot in the run game, does a lot in the passing game, and he needs to stay fresh for the long haul.
Is there any update with Tarodney and his availability for the program?
I have not received any update.
Chantel, do you have anything?
Yeah, Mark, I was curious about the redshirt freshman offensive linemen. They were on that scout team group that went up against DeForest Buckner and Alex Balducci every day last year. I was just curious how much you thought that experience sort of prepared them for what they're facing this year and moving forward.
That will do nothing but well, I guess it could do a few things. Could hurt your confidence or build up your tolerance. And they did some very good things, and again did some things that just got physically beat a couple times. Footwork and balance. It's that. It's kind of a delicate thing when we're trying to pass protect and be aggressive, but keeping your weight back so the guy can't just throw you. And so those guys, again, they just need to play. True, redshirt freshman offensive lineman. There are so many things that those guys go through, from seeing fronts, stunts, blitzes, all the things that we'll see throughout the year. You can't simulate all those things in practice, and so those guys have I think maintained their confidence kind of through all of that, and again, their best football's ahead of them.
Andrew, do you have anything?
Yeah, Mark, what's keeping you guys from finishing the way you want? Because you've mentioned that a couple times after each game, and how much, if at all, is that youth and immaturity you kind of alluded to during fall camp?
Yeah, that's what we're. I think in each phase it's different. Offensively, we had a couple again just assignment things, penalties. When it was 30-6 and just taking the thing and finishing it as a group, and taking it. That's one of those things as an offense you should be thinking you're going to win the game, on your own. Same thing for defense, same thing for special teams, and we have to complement one another very well. We had the pick right before halftime. The offense needs to make that a touchdown, not a field goal. Then we need to come out and, when we do kick a field goal, score on that first drive and just have that mindset of attack regardless of circumstance. And we're building toward that. I thought we let the lull kind of take us over there for a little bit in the third quarter. And, we're talking about it. We're trying to coach them through it, all those things that you do. But it has to happen. And, it's going to happen at some point, and hopefully this is the time you learn from it. And when it's a tighter game and you finish it in the future, this pays dividend.
Somebody in the back had a question?
Yeah.
Chris?
So I was going to ask about the defensive line in the front seven. Virginia found some success on the ground, and looking ahead to Nebraska, they can run the ball as well. So after watching film, what's the correction you want to make there?
Well, there's a bunch of things. Our leverage points, whether that's the outside in, how we fit the boxes, the various looks that they gave us. There was some 2-back stuff. There was some 1-back stuff that they did a nice little fold scheme with their center and guard, and that's basically the A gap moves to the other side of the guy when you have a fold scheme, and we didn't negotiate that very well. And then just running to the ball will solve a bunch of issues. If a guy's misfit for a 3-yard gain, let's make it a 3-yard gain and not a 11-yard gain or bigger. Some of that's on us as coaches. Some of that we just need to coach differently and execute.
Chantel, Andrew?
I'm good.
I got one for about kind of the 2-point conversions. You guys have been so aggressive. Is that purely matchup based, or is that just a concerted effort to keep the pressure on opponents and really not make them kind of know what's coming?
It's really both. We want to be foot on the gas in every phase, and that's an example of that. And then from there, it's going to be look based. There's multiple options. Kind of every situation. There's multiple options.
Right here, Matt.
With Reagan being unavailable and then AJ going out at linebacker, who are those guys that maybe step up into those roles if they're not going to be available next week or however long they're out?
Right. That's where, I guess we'll find out about some of those young linebackers that we're so excited about. Troy did some very good things, had some things that we'll correct. Quan did some good things, had some misfits. But Lamar, Keith Sims, Jonah Moy, Danny, Jimmy Swain, all those guys. We just need to package appropriately to get maybe a veteran guy in there with a young guy, or a cover guy in there with a non-cover guy. All those kind of ins and outs of it, and patch it together.
Does Dye fit in the middle linebacker spot at all, or something?
Depends on the situation. He's not a guy necessarily built to be in a 22 personnel Mike linebacker situation, but he's a really good player. He's really smart. He can get guys lined up, and so that makes him versatile.
Ryan?
Mark, I remember when you guys announced this series with Nebraska, you joked that Frost couldn't be on the other sideline when it was played. Is it kind of strange that there is a familiar face over there?
Yeah, that is bizarre. We were talking about that. I think when Coach Riley took the Nebraska job, that would have been the office pool of all office pools on that one. But they've done a fantastic job. They're rolling. Two huge victories, huge differential in the turnovers. Really, these two games kind of hinged on a 5-minute span, both of them. The Wyoming game goes from 24-17 to 52-17 in the blink of an eye, and special teams play. All they're doing a great job.
Anything else on the phone?
No, thanks.
Okay, we'll go one more. Warren.
Just kind of, Mark, we're along that same line with Nebraska. You probably had a chance to watch a little bit of tape. Just key points. Taking the team on the road for the first time in a huge hostile environment. What are you going to talk to your guys about that? And just maybe a little scouting report that you've seen so far in Nebraska.
Well, they're a really good football team, veteran quarterback, veteran line, bunch of skill guys that have been around for a long time. And then defensively on special teams, a lot of the schemes that we've seen for many years, and they've done a great job for a long time. And the biggest thing, dealing with any environment is us, and just our mindset going on the road. It's a great environment. It's an awesome college football venue, and our job is to take care of us. And again, you look at those games, the turnovers that took place. Obviously, there's give and take on both sides, but a couple times it's just a throwaway or a force or whatever that then started that avalanche. And we need to, if we make one of those plays, we need to put our thumb in the dike and play the next play. And so it's the normal stuff. Yeah. A couple times, yep. Yeah, in Arizona State. Yep.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks.